The transport ship shuddered as it dropped out of hyperspace, alarms screaming through every deck. Captain Derek Kane gripped the command rail while his crew scrambled to their stations. Three Galactic enforcement vessels had them locked in a tractor beam before the jump flash faded. "Weapon signature detected," his pilot shouted. "They're scanning us for banned tech." Derek's stomach dropped. They weren't carrying weapons. They were carrying something far more dangerous to the galaxy's carefully controlled order. A human child, the comm crackled. "Unidentified vessel, you are in violation of Sector 9 travel restrictions. Prepare for immediate boarding." "Sir, they're reading Emma's neural implant as a weapons system," his science officer said, voice tight with panic. "The medical augment is triggering every alarm in their database." Emma Cross sat in the medical bay, 12 years old and dying. The implant in her brainstem kept her alive, regulated her failing nervous system, let her walk and breathe and exist. Earth medicine, human engineering, built from desperation and hope. The galaxy had banned it 3 centuries ago. "Captain, we have to dump her," his first officer whispered. "Possession of neural combat tech carries immediate termination protocols. They'll vaporize this ship." The enforcement vessels were moving into firing position. Their weapons could crack a planet. His transport had cargo shielding and prayer. "Get Emma to the escape pod," he ordered. "Sir, she'll die without proper life support." "Do it," the boarding klaxon shrieked. Magnetic clamps hammered against the hull. Derek watched his crew move with practiced efficiency, hauling the confused girl toward the small pod bay. Emma's eyes were wide, scared, but she didn't cry. She'd been brave since Earth, since her parents died in the outbreak, since Kane promised to get her to the colony where doctors could help. "Captain Kane," the galactic voice boomed through the comm. "We are detecting prohibited technology. You have 30 seconds to disable and surrender all weapon systems, or we will open fire." His hands shook on the controls. The pod bay doors were open. Emma was inside, strapped in, medical monitors beeping their failing rhythm. The implant in her head kept her heart beating. Without it, she had minutes, 20 seconds. Derek looked at his crew. Young faces, good people, signing on for transport duty between the colonies. They didn't deserve this. Emma didn't deserve this. The galaxy had banned weapons to keep peace. They'd banned human neural tech because it scared them, because humans had once built soldiers with reflexes that could dodge laser fire, with minds that could calculate trajectories faster than ship computers. Emma couldn't dodge anything. She could barely walk. 10 seconds, Captain Kane." His finger hovered over the pod launch button. Then Emma's voice came through the internal comm, small and steady. "I can fix this." The enforcement ships charged their main guns. Derek's blood went cold. "Emma, stay in that pod. Don't touch anything." "They think I'm a weapon," she said. Her voice was calm, too calm for a 12-year-old girl facing 3 warships. "Let me show them what I actually am." "Absolutely not. We're launching you clear and..." The enforcement ships opened fire, not at them. Warning shots that tore past the hull close enough to superheat the outer plating. The entire ship groaned under the thermal stress. "Final warning, Captain Kane. Disable your weapons system or the next volley destroys you." "How?" The view screen flickered. Emma's face appeared, projected from the pod bay. Behind her, medical readouts scrolled across displays, showing neural patterns, brain activity, the intricate web of connections keeping her alive. "Galactic enforcement," she said. "My name is Emma Cross. I'm not a weapon. I'm a kid with a broken nervous system." The lead enforcement ship responded immediately. "Unidentified human. Your neural implant matches banned combat augmentation patterns. Galactic law is absolute." "Your law is stupid," Emma said flatly. "You banned technology you don't understand." Derek watched in horror as she released her pod restraints and stood. Her legs shook. The implant flickered visible beneath her skin, a silver web running up her spine. "Emma, sit down before. Watch," she told the enforcement commander. She raised her right hand. It trembled violently, fingers spasming. Then she closed her eyes, and the implant pulsed with light. Her hand steadied. Slowly, precisely, she made a fist. See that? That's not a weapon charging. That's me, controlling my own body. The enforcement commander's voice hardened. Human neural combat systems were designed to interface with military hardware. Your implant contains processing power equivalent to our tactical computers. Yeah, Emma said, because my brain can't process basic motor functions on its own. You want to know what happens if you make me disable this? She tapped a command on the pod's medical panel. The implant powered down by 10%. Emma collapsed instantly. Her body seized, back arching, limbs jerking in uncontrolled spasms. Alarms shrieked from the medical monitors. Derek lunged for the controls, but she'd locked them from inside the pod. 30 seconds, she gasped, her voice breaking. That's how long I last at 90% function. Reactivate your systems, the enforcement commander ordered. Why? You're going to make me turn it off anyway. Blood trickled from her nose. Might as well die now. Derek's pilot was shouting something about weapons locks disengaging. His science officer was frantically scanning the enforcement vessels, but Derek couldn't look away from Emma's face on the screen. Twisted in agony, eyes defiant. The implant kicked back to full power. Emma sucked in air and went limp, breathing hard. That's what you're enforcing, she said. That's your law. A dead kid because you're scared of technology. The neural combat systems were used to commit atrocities, the commander said. Entire species were. I know the history, Emma interrupted. I studied it. Human soldiers with enhanced reflexes and neural processors. They were unstoppable in combat. Terrifying. I get it. She stood again, steadier now, and looked directly into the camera. But those soldiers chose to fight. They chose to use their implants for war. I'm choosing to use mine to live. You really can't tell the difference? Silence stretched across the comm. The enforcement ships held position, weapons still charged but not firing. Derek's first officer whispered urgently, Sir, we're reading massive data transfers from their lead ship. They're accessing human medical databases, cross-referencing her implant design with historical combat systems. Emma swayed on her feet. The stress was taking its toll. Derek could see it in the way she gripped the pod's support rail, the tremor in her shoulders. Commander, Derek said, finding his voice, she's telling the truth. That implant is custom medical tech. It's not connected to any weapons systems. It doesn't enhance combat capability. It just keeps her alive. Captain Kane, you knowingly transported banned technology into galactic space. The penalty is death, Emma finished. For me, for the crew, for everyone on this ship. All because I was born with a broken nervous system on a planet that figured out how to fix it. She stepped closer to the camera. Her eyes were red-rimmed but fierce. So here's what happens next. Either you let us continue to the colony where doctors are waiting, or you fire. But if you fire, you're not destroying a weapon. You're murdering a kid who just wants to walk without falling down. The enforcement commander didn't respond. Emma's legs gave out. She caught herself on the rail, breathing hard, and Derek saw something that made his throat tight. She was smiling. Your move, Commander, she said. Show the galaxy what your laws are really worth. The enforcement ship's weapons began to cycle up to full power. The lead enforcement ship's primary cannon glowed white-hot. Derek's crew froze at their stations, every eye locked on the view screen. Emma stayed on her feet in the pod bay, one hand gripping the rail, the other hanging loose at her side. Then a second voice cut through the comm channel. Enforcement lead, this is Science Vessel Meridian. We've been monitoring your intercept. Hold your fire. The enforcement commander sounded annoyed. Meridian, this is a restricted military operation. Clear the channel. Negative. We're invoking Scientific Exemption Protocol 7. That human child's neural implant represents unique medical technology that requires immediate study. Derek's science officer pulled up the new ship's signature. Sir, it's a Valorian research vessel. They're one of the founding species of the Galactic Council. The enforcement commander's voice went cold. Meridian, You cannot invoke exemption protocols to interfere with weapons enforcement. We're not interfering with weapons enforcement. We're preventing the destruction of irreplaceable medical data. The Valorian scientist sounded almost amused. Unless you're prepared to explain to the Council why you vaporized a potentially galaxy-changing medical breakthrough. The weapons on the enforcement ships dimmed slightly. Derek felt his heart hammering against his ribs. Emma spoke up, her voice still steady despite her exhaustion. You want to study my implant, child? Your neural processor is operating on principles we don't fully understand, the Valorian scientist replied. Human medical technology took a different evolutionary path than ours. If your implant can do what you claim, it could help millions of beings across dozens species with similar conditions. So I'm a science experiment now instead of a weapons violation? You're a person with technology we'd like to understand, if you're willing to share. Derek watched Emma's face on the screen. She looked tired, scared, and far older than 12. Her hand trembled on the rail. What do you need from me? She asked. Safe passage to our research station. Full medical scans, neural mapping, and detailed analysis of your implant's functions. In exchange, we provide immediate council protection and medical support. The enforcement commander cut in sharply. Meridian, human neural combat technology is banned under treaty provisions that supersede your scientific protocols. We have standing orders to destroy weapon systems, yes, the Valorian interrupted. But you haven't proven this is a weapons system. You've only proven it matches certain design patterns. Correlation isn't causation, Commander. The processing power alone is matched by standard Valorian medical implants used in cognitive therapy across 300 worlds. Are those weapons too? Derek's first officer grabbed his shoulder. Sir, 2 more ships just dropped out of hyperspace. Valorian science vessels. They're taking up defensive positions around us. The enforcement commander's voice turned dangerous. Meridian, you're obstructing a lawful military operation. This constitutes an act of what? Protecting a child? Preserving scientific knowledge? The Valorian scientist's tone sharpened. Commander, I've transmitted our analysis to the Galactic Council. They're reviewing it now. I suggest you wait for their decision before you do something you'll regret. The comm went silent. Derek counted his heartbeats. 10, 20, 30. Emma swayed and caught herself. I need to sit down. Stay standing just a little longer, Derek said quietly. You're winning. Doesn't feel like winning? The enforcement commander came back online. We're receiving new orders from Council Command. Stand by. Derek's pilot spoke without looking away from her console. Sir, the enforcement ships are powering down weapons. Tractor beam is disengaging. Emma sat down hard on the pod bay floor. The medical monitors beeped frantically, but she waved them off. Meridian, this is Council Command, a new voice announced. Deep, resonant, carrying authority that made Derek straighten involuntarily. We've reviewed your analysis and the child's demonstration. Enforcement vessels are ordered to withdraw. The human child and her transport are granted temporary scientific exemption status pending full council review. Acknowledged, Council Command, the Valorian scientist said. Emma Cross, we're sending coordinates for our research station. It's 3 days from your current position. Will you come voluntarily? Emma looked at the camera, at Derek, at the crew watching from their stations. Do I have a choice? Yes, the Valorian said simply. You can continue to your colony. We'll provide escort to ensure the enforcement vessels don't interfere, but we'd very much like to understand your implant, and we can offer you medical care beyond what's available at frontier colonies. Derek activated his own comm. Emma, it's your decision. But the Valorians are good people, if they're offering help. They're offering to turn me into a research subject, Emma said. Study the weird human technology. Figure out if it's dangerous. Maybe lock me up if they decide I'm too scary. Or maybe, the Valorian scientist said gently, we help you and learn something that saves lives. Not every species sees humans as threats, child. Some of us see you as survivors who solve problems in ways we never considered. Emma closed her eyes. Her implant pulsed softly beneath her skin, keeping her heart beating. her lungs working, her broken nervous system functioning. "Fine," she said. "I'll go to your research station. But Captain Kane and his crew come with me. They risked everything to protect me. They don't get abandoned now." "Agreed," the Valorian said. "Captain Kane, set course for the coordinates we're transmitting. And Emma, thank you. You're braver than most adults I've met." The enforcement ships broke formation and jumped to hyperspace without another word. The Valorian science vessels took up escort positions around Derek's transport. Emma looked at the camera one more time. "Captain Kane, I'm sorry I accessed your computer without permission." Derek laughed, the sound half hysterical with relief. "Emma, you just talked down 3 warships. I think I can forgive a little unauthorized hacking." She smiled weakly and lay back on the pod bay floor. "I really need a nap now. Get some rest. We'll wake you when we reach the station." The comm went quiet. Derek's hands finally stopped shaking. His first officer collapsed into her chair. "Sir," his pilot said, "that kid just changed galactic law by having a seizure in an argument." Derek stared at the stars streaking past as they jumped to hyperspace. "Yeah, she really did." The Valorian research station hung in space like a crystal flower, all gleaming surfaces and geometric precision. Derek's transport docked in the main bay 3 days later with Emma asleep in the medical pod and his crew running on stimulants and nerves. The Valorians were waiting. 6 of them, tall and graceful, their skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns that shifted with their moods. The lead scientist stepped forward as the airlock opened. "Captain Kane, I'm Dr. Venn. Welcome to Research Station Kepler." Derek descended the ramp cautiously. "You're really going to help her?" "We're going to try." Venn gestured toward the medical bay, visible through transparent walls. "We've prepared a full diagnostic suite, but first we need Emma conscious and willing. She's exhausted." "The stress of—" "I'm awake," Emma called from inside the ship. She appeared at the airlock, walking carefully, one hand trailing along the wall for balance. "Let's get this over with." Venn's bioluminescence shifted to warm amber tones. "You're direct. I appreciate that. Follow me." The medical bay was like nothing Derek had seen. Holographic displays floated in midair, showing anatomical models of dozens of species. Equipment hummed with power that felt almost alive. Emma stopped in the doorway, her eyes wide. "This is where you're going to dissect my brain? This is where we're going to understand it," Venn corrected. "No invasive procedures, just scans, monitoring, and conversation. You're not a specimen, Emma. You're a consultant." She relaxed slightly. "Okay, what do you need?" The next 6 hours were intense. Emma lay in a scanning chamber while Valorian technology mapped every neuron, every connection, every pulse of her implant. Derek watched from the observation area as data flooded across screens faster than he could process. Venn stood beside him, tentacles of light extending from her fingers to manipulate the holographic displays. "Remarkable," she murmured. "The integration is seamless. Her implant isn't just supplementing neural function, it's become part of her nervous system. Organic and synthetic working as one unit. Is that normal? For Valorian medical implants, no. They remain distinct from biological tissue. But human technology seems to embrace fusion. Your species builds tools that become extensions of yourselves." Derek watched Emma's brain activity pulse across the display. "Can you help her?" "I don't know yet, but Captain, you need to understand something." Then turned to face him fully. "This implant is far more sophisticated than our preliminary scans suggested. It's not just keeping Emma alive. It's learning, adapting, growing with her." "That sounds dangerous." "That sounds like life," Venn said. "Every biological brain learns and adapts. Hers just has a synthetic component doing the same thing. The question is what happens as she ages. Does the implant keep pace? Does it integrate further? We don't have data on long-term human neural augmentation because your species banned the research after the wars." Derek felt cold. "You think she's in danger? I think she's in uncharted territory. And I think—" Alarms shrieked through the station. Red light flooded the observation area. Ven's bioluminescence flashed panicked white. Security breach. Multiple contacts dropping out of hyperspace. Derek ran to the viewport. 7 ships materialized around the station, sleek and aggressive, their hulls marked with symbols he recognized with sinking dread. "Those are Kryn warships," he said. "What are they doing here?" Ven was already moving, her fingers flying across control panels. The Kryn Collective filed a formal protest with the Council. They're claiming Emma's implant violates multiple treaty provisions. They want her surrendered for disposal. Disposal? She's a person, not equipment. To the Kryn, advanced AI and neural augmentation are the same thing. Thinking machines that threaten organic life. They lost 3 colony worlds to rogue AI centuries ago. They've been paranoid ever since. The lead Kryn vessel hailed the station. The voice that came through was harsh, mechanical, filtered through translation software. Valorian Research Facility. Surrender the human with illegal neural augmentation immediately. This is not a request. Ven opened the comm. Kryn Collective. This station operates under Council's scientific exemption. We have full authority to... Your exemption is revoked. Council vote concluded 1 hour ago. 4 species sided with our position. The human's technology is too dangerous to study. It must be destroyed. Derek's blood turned to ice. They can't just... They can, Ven said quietly. The Council operates on majority rule. If 4 founding species agree, they can override exemption protocols. Emma's voice came through the internal comm from the medical bay. I heard that. They're going to kill me, aren't they? No, Derek said firmly. We're getting you out of here. Captain Kane, there are 7 warships out there, Ven said, against this station's defensive capabilities. Then we run. Emma, can you move? Yeah. The scans didn't hurt, just made me tired. Derek was already heading for the medical bay when Ven caught his arm. Her bioluminescence pulsed urgent orange. Wait, there might be another option. I'm listening. Ven pulled up a holographic display showing Emma's neural scan. The Kryn fear-thinking machines. They see Emma's implant as artificial intelligence that's integrated with biological tissue. But what if we prove it's not AI? What if we demonstrate that her implant is purely reactive, responding to her biological needs without independent thought? How do we prove that in the next 5 minutes before they open fire? We let them scan her themselves. You want to hand Emma over to people who want her dead? I want to give them irrefutable proof that she's not a threat. Ven's voice was urgent. The Kryn are rigid, but they're not irrational. If their own scans show Emma's implant lacks AI characteristics, they're bound by their own protocols to withdraw. And if their scans say something different, then we're in the same position we're in now, except we tried diplomacy first. Emma appeared in the doorway, pale but standing. Do it! Emma, no! Captain Kane, I'm tired of running! I'm tired of being called a weapon. She looked at Ven. If letting them scan me proves I'm just a sick kid with medical tech, then scan away. The Kryn voice boomed through the station again. You have 2 minutes to comply. After that, we begin firing. Ven's fingers danced across the controls. Kryn Collective, the human subject volunteers for your inspection. We're transmitting her full medical scans now, including real-time neural activity data. Verify for yourselves that her implant contains no artificial intelligence. Silence. Derek counted heartbeats again. The Kryn ships held position, weapons charged, while their computers analyzed the data. Emma swayed, and Derek caught her elbow. She smiled up at him weakly. Thanks for not launching me in that escape pod, she said. Thanks for being the bravest person I've ever met. The Kryn voice returned, but something had changed. The mechanical edge was softer. Initial analysis confirms absence of independent AI systems. However, processing architecture shows disturbing similarities to prohibited neural combat designs. We require physical inspection to verify scans are authentic. Ven looked at Emma. They want to board the station and examine you in person. Emma took a deep breath. Okay, let them come. The Kryn boarding party arrived in full combat armor, 7 feet tall and bristling with weapons. Their leader removed his helmet in the medical bay, revealing a face like carved stone, all sharp angles and cold eyes. "I am Commander Thrace. The human will submit to our examination." Emma stood in the center of the room, small and fragile compared to the armored warriors surrounding her. Derek stayed close, his hand near the stun baton Ven had provided. Not that it would matter against Kryn battle armor. "I'm ready," Emma said. Thrace approached with a handheld scanner, moving with surprising gentleness. He passed the device over Emma's head, down her spine, watching readouts that Derek couldn't interpret. "The implant's integration is extensive," Thrace said. "More than our intelligence suggested." "It has to be," Emma replied. "My nervous system can't function without it." "Show me." Emma glanced at Ven, who nodded reluctantly. "Reduce power to 80%. Slowly." Emma closed her eyes. The silver web beneath her skin dimmed. Her left hand began to shake. Then, her arm. She gritted her teeth as tremors spread through her body. "Enough!" Thrace said sharply. "Restore full function." The implant brightened. Emma gasped and steadied, sweat beading on her forehead. Thrace studied his scanner in silence. The other Kryn soldiers shifted, their armor creaking. Finally, Thrace looked at Ven. "Your scans were accurate. This is medical technology, not weaponized AI. However, the processing architecture remains problematic. The implant's design allows for potential military applications even if currently configured for medical use." "Potential isn't actual," Ven argued. "Many technologies have dual-use capabilities. That doesn't make them weapons. Our protocols are clear. Technology capable of military application must be regulated regardless of current function." Thrace turned to Emma. "Child, your implant must be modified to remove combat-capable processing cores. This can be done without compromising medical function." Emma's face went white. "You want to cut into my brain? We want to ensure your technology cannot be weaponized by others. If you fall into the wrong hands, that implant could be reprogrammed for military purposes within hours." Derek stepped forward. "She's not a tool someone can just reprogram. The implant is integrated with her biological systems. You start cutting things out and you might kill her. Then she dies as a person rather than becoming a weapon," Thrace said coldly. "The Kryn Collective has seen what weaponized neural technology does. We will not permit it to exist regardless of current intent." "This is insane," Derek said. "You're talking about murdering a child to prevent something that hasn't happened and might never happen." Thrace's hand moved to his weapon. "Captain Kane, you are emotionally compromised. Step back." "Sir." "Wait." One of the other Kryn soldiers spoke up. Her voice filtered through her helmet. "The human should speak for herself." Thrace turned sharply. "Lieutenant Kessa, this is not a debate." "With respect, Commander, our protocols require we hear testimony from the affected party." Kessa removed her helmet, revealing features similar to Thrace but younger, less hardened. "Let her speak." Emma looked at the female Kryn soldier, then at Thrace. "You lost worlds to rogue AI. I read about it. The machines you built to help you decided you were obsolete. They tried to wipe you out. 3 billion Kryn died," Thrace said. "Our species nearly went extinct. So yes, child, we take artificial intelligence very seriously. I'm not AI. I'm not even close. My implant doesn't think. It doesn't make decisions. It just translates my brain's signals into motor control, because my neurons can't do it themselves." Emma's voice shook, but she didn't back down. "You want to know the difference between me and the machines that killed your people? They chose to attack. I choose to live. That's it. That's the whole difference. Choice requires consciousness. Consciousness in machines is precisely what we fear. Then, scan me again. Look at my brain activity while I make choices. Watch what happens in my biological neurons versus what happens in the implant. You'll see the implant never initiates. It only responds. I'm the one thinking, deciding, choosing. The implant is just the tool that lets me act on those choices." Kessa spoke quietly. "She makes a valid point, Commander." Thrace's jaw tightened. "The risk remains. Then monitor me, Emma said desperately. Put tracking systems in the implant. Check-ins every week, every day if you want. Verify I'm not being weaponized. But don't kill me for crimes I haven't committed and never will. Monitoring requires resources. Trust. Both are in short supply. I'll do it, Ven said suddenly. Research Station Kepler will take responsibility for Emma's monitoring. We'll provide weekly reports to the Kryn Collective. Full neural scans, verification that her implant remains configured for medical purposes only. And when she reaches adulthood? When she leaves your station? Who monitors her then? I will, Derek said. She's going to my colony. I'll file the reports myself if I have to. A human captain, vouching for human technology. Hardly impartial. No, but it's honest. Derek met Thrace's eyes. I'm not asking you to trust Emma because she's harmless. I'm asking you to trust that some humans learned from our mistakes. We built weapons that terrified the galaxy. We're not doing that again. Emma's implant is proof we can use that same technology to heal instead of harm. Thrace was silent for a long moment. Then he raised his scanner again, running it over Emma one more time. Lieutenant Kessa, your assessment? The younger Kryn soldier studied her own scanner readings. Neural activity originates entirely in biological tissue, Commander. The implant shows pure reactive patterns. No predictive modeling, no autonomous decision trees, no learning algorithms beyond basic adaptive calibration. By our own definitions, this does not qualify as artificial intelligence. By our definitions, the risk still exists. Risk always exists. Kessa said softly. That's why we have protocols. Monitoring, verification, oversight. Killing a child to eliminate potential risk violates everything we claim to protect. Thrace looked at his lieutenant for a long moment. Then he holstered his weapon. Very well. The human child will be monitored under joint Valorian-Kryn oversight. Weekly scans, monthly inspections, immediate response if any deviation from medical configuration is detected. Captain Kane, you will submit to the same monitoring if you wish to harbor her on your colony. Derek nodded immediately. Agreed. Emma Cross, Thrace continued. You will carry a tracking beacon tied to your implant. Any attempt to remove or disable it will result in immediate Kryn response. Do you accept these terms? Emma looked at Derek, at Ven, at the Kryn soldiers surrounding her. Do I get to go to the colony? Do I get to live? Under surveillance? Under constant suspicion? Never fully trusted. Thrace's expression was unreadable. But yes, you get to live. Emma smiled, and Derek saw tears on her cheeks. Then I accept all of it. Thank you. Thrace replaced his helmet. Do not thank us, child. We are not being merciful. We are being cautious. The moment you prove dangerous, we will end you without hesitation. I understand. The Kryn soldiers filed out of the medical bay. Kessa paused at the door, looking back at Emma. For what it's worth, she said quietly, I hope you prove us wrong about humans. I hope you show the galaxy that your species can be trusted with dangerous knowledge. Then she was gone, and Emma collapsed into a chair, shaking. Ven moved immediately to check her vitals. You did well. Incredibly well. I don't feel incredible. I feel like I just bargained my entire life away. Derek knelt beside her chair. You're alive, Emma. That's what matters. Alive and watched. Forever. But alive. Emma closed her eyes, exhausted beyond measure. Take me to the colony, Captain Kane. I want to see a sky that isn't filtered through view screens. I want to feel grass under my feet, even if the Kryn are tracking every step. 3 days, Derek promised. 3 days and you'll have all the sky you can handle. The colony world of New Haven appeared in the viewport like a promise kept. Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds drifting across an atmosphere that humans could breathe without filters. Emma pressed her face against the glass, tears streaming down her cheeks. It's beautiful, she whispered. Derek guided the transport through atmospheric entry, feeling the ship shake as friction built against the hull. The Kryn tracking beacon in Emma's implant pulsed steadily on his scanner. The Valorian monitoring station transmitted its weekly report automatically. Emma's life would never be simple, never be free from scrutiny. But she would have a life. They landed in the colony's main settlement, a sprawling collection of prefab buildings surrounded by farmland that stretched to distant mountains. Doctors were waiting, along with colony administrators and curious settlers who'd heard about the girl who'd changed galactic law by refusing to die quietly. Emma descended the ramp slowly, carefully, one hand on the rail. When her feet touched actual ground instead of metal deck plating, she stopped and laughed. Just laughed, pure and bright. The sound of someone who'd forgotten what joy felt like. "Real dirt," she said. "It's actually real dirt." The lead doctor approached, an older woman with kind eyes. "Emma Cross, we've prepared a full medical suite for you. Weekly monitoring, physical therapy, anything you need. And the Kryn reports? We'll handle those. You focus on being 12 years old." Patricia smiled. "When's the last time you played, Emma? Actually played, like a kid should?" Emma looked lost. "I don't remember." "Then we'll start there. Come on. I'll show you your room, and tomorrow we'll introduce you to the other children in the colony. Some of them have medical conditions, too. You'll fit right in." Emma glanced back at Derek. "You're staying, right? You said you'd file the reports if I'm staying. New Haven's my home colony. Has been for 10 years. Derek smiled. "You're stuck with me, kid." She hugged him suddenly, fiercely, her small body trembling against his chest. "Thank you for everything. For not launching the pod. For believing me. Thank you for being brave enough to fight." Derek pulled back and looked at her seriously. "Emma, the galaxy's going to watch you your whole life. Some will hope you fail. Others will hope you prove them wrong. Don't live for either group. Live for yourself. Be the person you want to be, not the symbol everyone else needs." Emma nodded. "I'll try." Patricia led her toward the settlement. Derek watched them go. The small girl walking on real Earth for the first time in months, her implant glowing softly beneath her skin with each step. His crew gathered around him at the base of the ramp. "So what now, Captain?" his first officer asked. "We're grounded for at least a month while the Galactic Council reviews our case. Now we help build a colony that's worth Emma's fight," Derek said. "We show the galaxy that humans can create instead of destroy. That we can take our most dangerous technology and use it to save lives. That's optimistic." "Yeah, but 3 weeks ago I thought we'd all be dead." "I'll take optimistic." Across the settlement, Emma stood in an open field with Patricia and 3 other children. The wind caught her hair, and she lifted her face to the sun. Her implant pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat, keeping her alive, keeping her moving, a fusion of human determination and human ingenuity. One of the other children said something and Emma laughed again. The sound carried across the field, bright and free. Derek's comm chimed. A message from Ven at Research Station Kepler. "Captain Kane, preliminary analysis is complete. Emma's implant represents a breakthrough in neural integration that could help millions across dozens of species. The Council has agreed to fund continued research, and 3 other species have requested human medical technology consultations. Your child just started a revolution in galactic medicine. Thought you'd want to know." Derek smiled and looked at the sky, at the colony, at Emma playing in the field like she'd never been a weapons violation or a political crisis. "Yeah," he said quietly to himself. "That's humanity. We'll scare you half to death, argue with warships, and accidentally revolutionize your medicine. All before lunch." Emma's laughter rang out again, and somewhere in the vastness of space, the galaxy adjusted to the reality that humans weren't going anywhere. Not when they had children worth fighting for and technology they refused to weaponize. The Kryn tracking beacon pulsed steadily. The Valorian monitors recorded their data, and Emma Cross ran through grass under an open sky, her implant keeping perfect time with her steps, proof that the most powerful human technology wasn't made